All right, tennis is not mental, it's physical. So tennis is not mental, it is all physical. So all that mental stuff that they say, that's a lie, that's a fugazi, that's a fugazi, whatever, lie. So we got a bunch of books. The Mental Athlete, meaningless. Tennis, the mind game. Like, really? No. Tennis is physical. Here we go. The Mental Mastery Program. The Mental Mastery Program. Nope, it's physical. Well, oh yeah. Mentally tough. Mentally tough. Tennis isn't mental, it's physical. All right, and the all-time book, The Game, The Inner Game of Tennis. Tennis is not mental, it is physical. So, having coached college tennis for 25 years and competitive tennis even more than that, I can tell you it's physical. Never been mental, never going to be mental. So here's what I mean. Over the decades, I've listened to different psychologists, and Jim Loehr, I always liked. Jim Loehr I kind of liked. And I remember he had some books, and he's talking about mental. And then kind of like the third book or the third seminar I went to, he goes, oh, it's physical. So what do you mean by physical? He goes, well, the biggest fear in life is to prepare someone for death. So how does the military prepare their soldiers? How do they first thing they do, they send them to boot camp and they get them physically strong, so they can have confidence, so they could deal with the fear of death in case of military battles. Then they also teach them how to march. They teach them the chain of command and so forth. So they're not sending them to some psychologist, and they're just not doing that. So tennis is physical, it's not mental. So here's some examples of it. So if you want to coach up a player, they're having trouble concentrating, well, you get them to physically keep their eyes on the court. So you get them physically to keep their eyes on the court. Let's say a player's having trouble relaxing. You get them to take the racket from their dominant hand and put it into their non-dominant hand. If you watch any social media, Francis Tiafoe, you often see him switching his hands. He puts it in to relax that one and so forth. Also, if a player has problems with anger management, getting that racket out of the right hand, putting it in the left hand is kind of key, because you got to be a real psycho to put the racket in your opposite hand and beat the heck out of it on the ground. You got to be there. You need some psychiatric help. So usually you put the racket into the left hand, non-dominant hand, and then that kind of reduces the opportunity for anger. So you physically do that. Relaxing. So relaxing, put it in the opposite hand. Physically put it in the opposite hand. Relaxing, long breath, long stroke. Physically breathe out. Short breath, short stroke. All right? And you can practice this during the dead time, after the point. So you got those. Confidence. How do you, I need my player to have confidence. Well, confidence, physically organize your bag, have it proper, physically get to the match a little bit early, physically wear some nice clothes and so forth, get fit. Physical fitness helps confidence. Every player is going to have their own little things going on. They're going to be nervous and they're going to get a little too jacked up, a little too low arousal. They're going to have to deal with this. But the physical response is what gets the right mental state. So when people are saying, hey, the game's so mental, no, it's not. You just got to teach the physical response. Just like interviewing for a job, you can get a little nervous, but if you wear some nice clothes, you sit there, you cross your legs, you sit up straight, have a little confidence. What you do physically we're going to give you that mojo, that climate that you need for a peak performance, okay? So again, after having to do this for college players for 25 years, so we didn't read books like that. I mean, that would make them quit tennis. It's a good book. It sold a lot, but remember, it's physical. Maybe I haven't emphasized that enough. Tennis is physical. So here's some stories. So I'm going to give you real life stories. Okay, first of all, parents watching kids play. I've had parents call me because I'm in the collegiate business, helping get 18 and under players, future college players, to college. So parents will have this discussion about, hey, my kid needs a mental coach. Actually, a kid just needs a coach. So I've seen parents that, when the kid would make an unforced error or something, they start writing notes. And that's not a good thing. So parents, not just parents, but coaches, ask the players on how they want you to behave. Do they want you to encourage them when they play? Do they get more confidence when you use their first name, or is it just the initial? Whatever. So ask the player what gives them confidence. Ask them where they want you to sit, how they want you to sit. Some players get annoyed when their parents or coaches are talking all the time to other people. Some could care less. But ask the player, and the player can tell you how they want you to behave so they can have confidence, relaxation, and so forth. Now, some parents, it's good just not to be there at all. Just not to be there. You got twitches and weird stuff going on, and your kids can feel that. And so you actually screw up performance. But at the same time, I tell the kids, listen, you got to learn how to play in front of your parents. Because one, they're spending a lot of money on this, usually traveling and so forth. So you got to learn how to, to play in front of your parents, and concentration, just physically keep your eyes on the court. So it's a little bit of both ways. So I had a player, I remember in a Wake Forest match, Shrugo. He was very nervous, very tight, and he was a great player. He played Davis Cup for Israel. So the whole match, I just talked to him on the crossover, like I'd say, hey, Shruga, how do you like our new shoes? And I think they were Reebok at the time. I said, do you like them? Do they wear good? Hey, Shruga, we're interested in recruiting this other player. What do you think about them? And there were some national ramifications in this match. And just the whole idea was to keep Shruga's mind. It was alternative behavior. So I physically talked to him about stuff that had nothing to do with the match. Obviously, I didn't say stuff like, hey, why are you nervous? Are you nervous this much? How can I help you not be nervous? So the only thing I did was just talk to him physically about other things. So that's just alternative behavior. So I'm sharing with you some stories and thoughts about these things. Then I had some sisters from Brazil, Raquel and Luciana. They used to just lose their mind. They would get so angry at each other. And their performances were horrible when they got angry at each other. So I physically had a conversation with them about Brazil being horrible in soccer, and it's kind of not like a worthless country. By the way, I don't feel that way. I love Brazil. I love mango. It's a great country. But in this particular moment, I'd have these discussions on the crossover. They would get so pissed at me, so pissed they crossed on the other side of the net. So they joined forces. They united because they didn't like me and they wanted to perform well. Really, they were so against me, they wanted to perform well. And it took us a few years to get over that. However, we went to both of their weddings, I believe. Anyway, time forgives a lot. But anyway, that was an example of something here in college. Tippy Upziller at the U.S. Open. So I think it's 2004. So this is a great little story. So 2004, Tippy qualifies. She makes the second round. She's playing Justine Henin in the second round, the number one seed on Arthur Ashe Stadium. And at the time, Tippy's 34. And so she was, it's kind of cool. She took Henin 3 sets too. 2004, second round. Look it up, 2004. Anyway, so we're playing in Arthur Ashe. Tippy says, because we have the player box. And we have about 20 guests or something like that. She strategically placed everyone. She says, Daryl, I want you in the bottom right-hand corner. There's this other lady, I'm not going to mention her name, Linda. Linda was a very nice lady, but she was annoying. She'd get on Tippy's nerves. So she would take her, she goes, please put her up in the top left because I don't want to make eye contact with her at 3-all and, you know, these kinds of things. So Tippy organized the box in a way that would give her confidence and relaxation when she looked over to the box. So she would see our little friend Linda and a couple other people got reallocated. And so she'd even tell me what to say. So she would go, Daryl, when I win some tough points, I want you to yell out, hey, strong legs, way to fight, Tippy, and all this. She told me what to say, and I had my little script there. Now, every now and then I could be original. And actually that other stuff, you know, fight and all that, she got that from me anyways. But anyway, she had it orchestrated on things the way she wanted her box to physically behave in order to give her relaxation, confidence, and so forth. And you can see Nick Kyrgios do this sometimes, and he'll do it live during the match. And that's all he's saying. He's telling you what he's looking for. Now, with him being a little bit bipolar, it kind of changes a little bit. And I'm being sarcastic because Nick is great stuff on Netflix. Well, anyway, back to tennis being physical. So that story. Now, here's a story. Here's a couple other stories. My son, I'll go through my 3 kids real quick. I'll go through my 3 kids real quick. So Clark Cummings. So Clark played for Hampton Sydney. He won the most matches in history. And often, actually all the time when he played, he's that guy that was fist pumping, spitting and kicking. And he knew the score on every court. And he was the motivator. But also the other team hated him always. I mean, it's... You know, he didn't have really good sportsmanship all the time. I mean, he didn't cheat people, but he's very fist-pumping, obnoxious, try to get into your head and make you hate him. So the whole time he was playing, I just didn't say a thing. Now, the reason I didn't say a thing was probably because I was embarrassed, and I didn't want anyone to think that I was his father. Plus, I was afraid on some of these moments, especially against Virginia Wesleyan, I was afraid someone was going to slice my tires. So with him, he didn't tell me anything, but there was a lot of fist pumping and so forth, and that gave the coaches would tell me that gave the whole team confidence because Clark knew the score, and he would get pumped up when you had break point and you broke the other person and so forth. So he was that guy. Now my other son, Connor, no, I wouldn't give him any attention either, but I wouldn't give him attention because he doesn't want any attention. He doesn't want it to be, you know, he just doesn't want attention. He just wanted to compete. And he pretty much told me just to sit there and not say a thing. And that's what I did. So Clark, I didn't want to say a thing because I was afraid of my own safety. Connor, he just laid it out. He's going to play tennis and no talking to any other people, no cheering his name, any of that kind of stuff. Now, Jessica played volleyball, and this is a true story. So when Jessica played volleyball, she didn't make that many unforced errors, and she didn't have any kills. So she just didn't make any mistakes. And I would often tell her, because as being a tennis coach, you think you know every sport. So I told her, hey, how about you make some more unforced errors trying to get some kills? And that didn't go too well. That discussion didn't go too well. Anyway, her senior night, she played for Norfolk Christian, and all these people had signs they held up that were very Christian-oriented or so forth, very nice stuff and everything. So that night, I knew this was going to be my last night seeing her play as a senior. So I risked everything. So I got me a sign for the seniors, except my sign had her and Post Malone. So look at that. So when I held this up, her teammates pointed it out. So I got it above my head, holding it up, and her and Post Malone. And she was so embarrassed to be a human being. She was so embarrassed. Not embarrassed, but it got rid of all that fear. She was the best player on the court. I don't care what anybody said. She had like 8 or 9 kills, no unforced errors. I mean, she was free. And all it took was for me to physically hold up this sign with her and Post Malone. That's all I had to do. And boom. And then my last guy, my last story, my man Barrett Foster, who plays number 1 for Hampton Sydney. As he was going and playing tennis, when he first started on the competitive track, he had to play in front of me, Roy Beskin, Virginia Tech Hall of Famer, his father, Billy Foster, who's won a lot of stuff. And he just didn't perform that well because he knew what we were thinking when we were watching. We were 3 guys who thought you got to win at all costs, some of that Michael Jordan stuff. And anyway, that didn't jive with Barrett. So he just didn't perform well. But over time, he put his eyes on the court and he concentrated, and he didn't worry about who was watching him and so forth. And Barrett's that kind of guy that he's sunshine, man. He just wants to play tennis. Whereas us 3, we thought if we beat someone, we were a better human being than them. We were that Michael Jordan warped competitive kind of stuff that you would, bad sportsmanship when we lost, and we just really wasn't that good. And Barrett is, once he physically kept his eyes on the court and he physically take the racket out of his right hand to the left hand, he had great relaxation and great concentration. Tennis is physical.